This is the 2020 Toyota Avalon TRD, the most extreme Avalon ever produced. This is a car no one asked for, and Toyota went ahead anyways. The TRD Avalon received a ton of exterior changes and received a brand new suspension setup. Yet at the end of the day, it still retains the civility of a normal Avalon. So is this the right sedan for you? Keep watching and find out. Today, I'm behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota Avalon TRD, and this is the most extreme Avalon ever. So let's start out with the changes. On the outside, the changes is very apparent. You could tell right away. Take a look at the front grille. I mean, the grille is massive. On an Avalon, it's always massive, but on the TRD, it's replaced with black, and it looks a lot better, especially with the smoked headlights and the lip spoiler underneath. And you combine that with the aero skirts on the side and a diffuser in the back, and also the subtle spoiler on the deck lid. If you combine all that together, it definitely looks like no other Avalon on the road today. Also, look at the wheels. 19-inch TRD black wheels specific to the TRD edition, and it definitely completes the look. And the Avalon already has a long and low profile. Everything together just makes this Avalon TRD looks like it's a sports sedan, like a true sports sedan, and in a way that's a little bit better and a little bit more subtle than the Camry TRD. So that's on the outside. What about some of the things that you can't see that's also on the outside? And I'm talking about like the suspension and the engine. Let's start out with the suspension, because that's the biggest area that Toyota concentrated on. The dampers have been changed and revised. The springs have been revised front and back. They're stiffer. Anti-roll bars are thicker. There's body braces underneath. Also, in terms of the brakes, the rotors are nearly 1 inch bigger. Also, the calipers, 2 piston calipers up front instead of single piston calipers. And all the calipers, front and back, have been painted red. The exhaust out back definitely has been improved. It's a lot more throatier TRD exhaust. Going at low speeds right now, so I don't really hear it, but once I get up to speed, I'll let you guys know how that is and how it compares to the Camry TRD's exhaust. What about under the hood? Well, unfortunately, under the hood, nothing has changed. This still utilizes the V6, the 3.5 liter V6, pushing over 300 horsepower, and it's mated to an 8-speed automatic. This is a very, very powerful engine, and it rocketed the Camry 0 to 60 to 5.6 seconds. Now in the Avalon and the Avalon TRD, it's a little bit slower, about 6 to 6.1 seconds 0 to 60, which still isn't bad. I think most of us would have liked a bit more ponies under the hood, but I'll let you guys know how acceleration is once I get on the open roads. Okay, what about changes on the inside? Well, as soon as you open the door, it's apparent. You have red seat belts, you got red accents in the seats. The headrest, they say TRD, so you can't mistake this for any other Avalon. Now the seats themselves look like leather, but it's Softex material, so basically it's leatherette or pleather, and that's throughout the whole cabin. But to be honest though, because they have suede inserts in the middle, actually looks pretty good and it feels pretty good. The suede insert is actually holding me in pretty well. And the seats are somewhat bolstered, so in my back, I could feel it. I'm not really sliding around, and it's a comfortable feeling. Okay. Acceleration, that was about 20 to 60. I was in normal mode, not in sport mode. And it was lively, but it definitely did not feel as lively as the Camry TRD. Really get a cozy feel in here. I think the Avalon by itself, the door panel's a little bit higher. The roof especially is very low. You could definitely tell the windshield and the back window is very raked. And because of that, you definitely feel like you're more cozy in here. And in the Avalon TRD, that's fantastic because you want to feel like you're driving something special, something more sporty, right? So I think this works really well with the Avalon TRD. But with a non-TRD Avalon, I would say that may be something that turns some people off because they want more of an open feel, and the Avalon doesn't really give that anymore. Now, despite all the suspension changes that Toyota did in this Avalon, it's still very civil and very comfortable on open roads. Because this Avalon does have a longer wheelbase than the Camry, it definitely helps out. So even with the stiffer springs and the revised dampers, it still handles these bumps pretty well. Overall, it's a nice, comfortable drive. And I like the steering. The steering is fantastic. Just like the Camry TRD, I feel like it's a good steering feel. It has a nice weight to it. It's pretty precise. So there's a little bit of play, but overall it's pretty precise. And this definitely feels much better than the one in a regular Avalon. And it feels better than most cars that I've tested recently. When you compare the Avalon TRD versus the Camry TRD, you go get back some of the luxury features that was removed in the Camry TRD. But there's a trade-off for that though. But before I get to the trade-off, what else do you get in here? Well, you do get a sunroof, so that is good. So you do have a sunroof. It's not a panoramic one, but you get one. The infotainment screen is bigger. This is a 9-inch screen, and you can opt for navigation and JBL speakers. It's about $1,800 upgrade, but you do get that. Unfortunately though, somehow in the Avalon, you don't get Android Auto. You get Apple CarPlay, but you don't get Android Auto. In the Camry you do, just be aware of that. So you do get that. Climate control, dual zone climate control. It's been upgraded from single zone climate control on the Camry TRD. Also, inside the gauge cluster, you get a nice large screen with much fancier graphics. This is the one that's in the newer Toyotas. You'll like this interface. There's so much in here. You can look through your trip computer, your safety systems, your fuel economy. You can adjust a lot of things. So this is a really nice info screen. So you also get that in here. Other little things, for example, the windows, auto up, down, all 4 windows. In the Camry TRD, it is not all 4 windows. So you get subtle things like that. And the seats, I mentioned about, it is still Softex, and both is Softex, but in this one you get that suede insert, and I do feel like it's a little bit better in terms of holding me in, a little bit more comfortable. Now, something else that's nice is that you can fold down the rear seats in here. In the Camry TRD, you cannot. In a normal Camry, you can, but because Toyota added another body brace in the trunk, it kind of blocked the rear seats, so they took the ability to fold down the rear seats. In the Avalon TRD, you don't have a body brace there, so you can still fold it down. So those of you guys that are looking to haul some bigger or longer items, you still can in here. I definitely can hear the TRD exhaust, and I like it. It's at a volume where it's really not irritating. There's not nearly as much drone as the Camry TRD, but you definitely can hear it anytime you accelerate. So you definitely get a little boost in noise level because of it, and it's in a good way. But besides the TRD exhaust, just overall, noise level in here, very, very quiet, just like an Avalon. There's no wind noise at all, none. Road noise, very, very little. It's very quiet in here, except when you accelerate, you go hear that TRD exhaust, and that's actually a good thing in here. I think the combination of the steering wheel with the suspension changes and even the wheels, everything combined, and the seats and the driving position, this is a very comfortable Avalon TRD. The thing is though, it doesn't really feel that extreme. That's the thing. So if you guys are looking for something that you want to actually really test out, like bring it onto a course or a track, which I know you guys are thinking, you're probably not going to do that. But in case you wanted to, I'm not sure how well this will do. Now, one thing I'm noticing with this 8-speed, just like in the Camry, when you have it in normal mode and you're just kind of cruising around, because the 8-speed is trying to save gas, and you can see it in the info screen, you'll see Eco come up, and it'll shift up as much as it possible, and it kind of makes the car a little bogged down. And I got that feeling in a normal Camry, in a Camry TRD, in Avalon, and I feel it in this Avalon TRD as well. So one good thing is you could simply go into sport mode. It makes the revs a little bit higher, and then you don't get that anymore. In terms of driver assistance safety stuff, you get Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, which means you get everything. And that's one other thing that you get in here versus the Camry TRD. You do get blind spot monitoring that the Camry TRD does not have. So you get that, rear cross traffic alert, you get that too. In terms of other things, lane assist, adaptive cruise control, pre-collision mitigation, auto high beam, all those things, those are all included. As I'm coming to a stop, the brakes feel normal. They feel a little bit stiffer, but that's pretty much it. With the bigger rotors and the dual piston calipers I mentioned, they still feel good. It comes on a little bit quicker, a little bit stiffer, but overall it's a good feeling. The Avalon stops when you expect it to, so no surprises. The Avalon TRD starts around $43,000, and when you add this navigation, it comes in around $45,000, $46,000. So the Avalon TRD is essentially at the same price as the Avalon Touring, which is the top trim level. It's about like $300 cheaper. On the Camry, on the other hand, this is what I loved about the Camry TRD is the Camry TRD is actually like a mid-grade trim. And it starts around $31,000, $32,000, and there's really no options. The only option you can get is to switch out the summer tire to all-season tires, and it's absolutely free. So there's at least a $12,000 difference between the Avalon TRD and the Camry TRD. So is the Avalon TRD worth $12,000 more than a Camry TRD? Well, if you're looking for a little bit more room, you're looking for this style that is not so boy racer-like, and if you want these features inside, such as the sunroof, the bigger infotainment screen, the info screen, you know, these things like that, then yeah, I guess $12,000 is worth it. But if you're just looking for a really fun to drive sedan that looks like nothing else on the road, then you really can't go wrong with the Camry, especially since the Camry is faster. It also does have Android Auto, which is not available in here, and you can get summer tires. Next, let's look at the good and bad to this brand new Avalon TRD. Starting with the good. On the outside, you have aggressive sports car look. Inside, it's comfortable and cozy. You have that lovely TRD exhaust note. You get a great steering feel. There's a lot of standard features and lots of standard safety features. And lastly, there's no compromises on utility or practicality. As for the bad, there's also a few. The looks may not be for everyone. You do lack headroom in the Avalon TRD. Also, you don't get Android Auto. You pay at least $12,000 more than a Camry TRD, and plus, certain premium features such as ventilated seats, panoramic sunroof, and wireless charging are not available. Overall, the Avalon TRD is a fantastic sports sedan that gives you more room, more features, and arguably better looks than its smaller sibling, the Camry TRD. However, the price tag holds the Avalon TRD back. I'm giving the brand new 2020 Toyota Avalon TRD a score of 96. To see how it ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any first looks, news, or reviews, and check out these other videos.